All right. So, hello and welcome to everyone. You are watching this live stream, this live event with your host, Bante Warapanyo, American Buddhist monk and live streamer. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at the teachings from my teacher, the kind of monk who is overseeing me. As Buddhist monks, for the first 5 years, we need to be under a master, under a more senior, more experienced monk. And so the teachings that we will be going over today are from my teacher, Sayadaw Ashin Ottamasara from Myanmar. This is kind of the great eagle of wisdom whose wings I am nested under in my monk life. That's one way to understand it. That's one way to see it. So for these kinds of teachings, the title of this talk is Don't Obey Your Desire. So to listen to a talk like that, we kind of have to pay the entry fee. We have to have this willingness to be mindful rather than absorbed and involved in thinking. And we have to have this willingness to give up and to let go rather than constantly chasing our desires, constantly believing in our thoughts, just kind of constantly eating candy. You know, we can eat candy, but we also need to have this ability to put down what we pick up. You know, even though a thought comes to your mind, not to immediately be deceived by it or deluded by it, but just to be aware of it and to sit. You know, we have to really be able and willing to stop what we're doing, whatever that is, to listen to a talk, to listen to a wisdom teaching, such as don't obey your desire. So these first few moments, go ahead and find a meditation position. That is to, find a position where your body is still and upright. Okay? So your spine is straight, your head is up. And you can also have your eyes open. They don't need to be closed. And just starting to intentionally look at this direct experience right now. To really show up to what is happening. To start facing this present moment rather than this future moment that we're looking towards or this past moment that we're remembering, but to really start looking at and being with this present moment experience. And a good way that we can do that is we just start to breathe. We start to even breathe manually. We start to really get involved in this process of keeping ourselves alive. Right? If you don't breathe, you're going to die. So you start to touch that very vital and alive aspect of your experience that is breathing. You start to become aware of that. Breathing in deeply and bringing the mind home to the body. Really establishing yourself here in this present moment. Putting down anchor. Right? Just like if you're a boat in the ocean, most of the time you're swishy-swashy all the time in the waves. You're going this way and you're going that way, and it's good and bad and like and dislike, and you're just kind of swishing and swashing around all the time. So when we listen to a wisdom talk or when we want to practice meditation, we put down the anchor. We start to stop. We start to find a stillness in this moment. We open up to this stillness. We open up to this experience of body and mind right now. And from that place of putting down anchor, just start to give your full attention to the breath. Feel the breath as it flows in and flows out. The lungs filling and emptying. The heart opening up. And the body becoming more and more relaxed, more and more still. So it's from this position, it's from this way of being that we will listen to this Dhamma talk and these teachings today. And as we are going through this, if something really inspires you, or if something really sticks out to you in this teaching, you can raise your hand, you can make a comment and say, I want to ask about this, or I want to know about this. And we'll periodically maybe slow down and see if there are any comments or questions about what we've read. Okay? So the title of this talk is Don't Obey Your Desire. Do not obey your desire. You must be mindful of the breath, and you must detach from other objects, other points of focus. If you are focusing on the breath, just pay attention to the breath and then stop paying attention to everything except breathing. Immediately when you start to pay attention to something else, an itch or a thought or a movement or whatever, stop paying attention to that. Just pay attention to breathing. What I am guiding is to be doing only, without attachment. We should try to abandon the habit of paying attention to the things and to the actions. We are used to paying attention to living beings. We are used to paying attention to non-living beings, experiences, objects of body or mind, alive, or your computer or your phone. That is why there are strong attachments in our mind about living beings and non-living beings. There are also strong ideas of something or someone. We believe the idea of something as being true, someone as being true. So we are believing in this kind of separate objects that really truly exist. In fact, the truth is just ever new impermanent nature, not something, not someone. So that is that the truth is impermanence. The truth is the arising and passing away of all objects, mental or physical, thought, story, real you, real someone. That's just created truth. The real truth is ever new impermanent nature. That is the truth of impermanence. We strongly believe in someone and something. That is why when we use the living beings and non-living beings, we are using with the idea of I or you, mine or yours. We must try to abandon these ideas. We see from the view of someone. Whatever we are doing, we do it for us, for our family, for our society, or for our country. We are grasping the idea of something or someone in whatever we do. We all have strong belief in the idea of something and someone. This is our attachment for something or someone. We can use ourselves, we can use our life, we can use other people also, but we should try to detach from the idea of something and someone. If we are not doing good, we are doing mistakes. If we are not abstaining from evil things, strongly unskillful activities, then we are wrong. If we don't try to purify our mind, it is also wrong. Most of us are making these mistakes. So these are the mistakes of not doing good, not intentionally doing good. This is the mistake of not intentionally refraining from, abstaining from, stepping back from evil things, unskillful things, selfish, desire-based things. And this is also the mistake of not trying to purify our mind. Having no recognition of the importance of purifying our mind is wrong. We have to try to purify our mind. Most of us are making these mistakes. We want to do what we want. We are doing what we want to do. We obey our desire. All our actions come from our own desire. We will eat when we want to eat. We will sleep when we want to sleep. That means that all our actions are based on something, which is our present desire. That means we are working for ourselves. We are trying to fulfill our own desire. That is not doing only, but rather doing for something. So doing with this desire. Doing to fulfill our own desire, working for ourselves. Doing with the idea of something or someone. I am not trying to stop you. Do it or don't do it. I am trying to detach from the idea of something or someone. So it is not to limit what we can do or what we should do or how we cooperate and have relationships with other people. That's not what this teaching is about. Do it or don't do it. That's up to you. This teaching is about to detach from the idea of something or someone, which is inherently just this kind of created truth. It's based on attachment to something that is not fixed, not permanent, not really real. It just appears according to causes and conditions. It appears without any kind of separate self, without any real fixed identity. There is no something, there is no someone, there is just cause and effect. There is just bodily and mental experiences, factors coming together. Does anyone have a question about this point, that there's not something or someone? This is an important point that we bring to our meditation, or we bring to anything that we do, so that we can do it with right understanding.
I have a question about purifying the mind. How do you do that?
We purify the mind through doing only, experiencing only, using only, doing good actions, refraining from bad actions, and doing those actions without an idea of something or someone, but rather doing only, experiencing only. So let's continue. As a human being, you will learn, you will work, That is not the problem. But if you are not doing good, the teaching of Buddha is true. So if you are not studying the teaching of Buddha, you are making a mistake. If you are not practicing meditation or mindfulness, you are making a mistake. If you are not trying to purify your mind, you are making a mistake. These mistakes are usual for lay people. So these mistakes are usual for people who are not a monk or a nun. We can say they're usual for also monks and nuns. But especially for lay people involved in business and certain kinds of relationships. That is why there are a lot of problems in the mind of people. They use the mind as they want. We want to be angry. I'm sure many of us have felt that. We love it. We love to be angry. We want to be angry, right? We want to be righteously furious, running around with a flaming sword of anger, cutting down our foes and those who have different perspectives than us, right? Which is not so good. So that is why there are a lot of problems in the mind of people. They use the mind solely as what they want. We want to be angry. Using as normal people, using in the usual way is not the right way. So we should study the teaching of Buddha and we should practice according to Buddha's teachings. When we do in this way, we must be careful to detach from ourselves and from our actions. If you are mindful, you are making a mental action. You are using your mind. That is right. But in order to be doing only, you must not pay attention to your mind and to your practice of mindfulness. You must not pay attention to the practice of mindfulness, but you must be mindful. When you are mindful, you must try to abandon the habit of paying attention to what you are doing now. You might like to meditate, or sometimes you might dislike to meditate, but you must do it without taking care of your mind, your desire. You must try to detach from your own desire. So this is pointing to a deeper layer of breathing only, sitting only, aware only. You're not paying attention to breathing. You're not paying attention to the fact that you are aware. Aware only, breathing only, sitting only. And we double down on that. And that is to try to detach from your own desire. Breathing only, experiencing only. You must not obey your desire, Kit. You must not obey your mind. Because normally our mind is not pure. It has a lot of attachment. If we obey our mind, we must work like other normal people. We should not forget Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Then we must practice as a Sangha, as a yogi, when we must practice together as a community. You might not be in a meditation center. You might not be a yogi. That means someone who is full-time emphasizing mindfulness and detachment as their primary way of living. So you might not be in a meditation center. You might not be a yogi, but it is not important. It is not a problem. You must work at the practice of mindfulness and detachment. You should detach from yourself, from your action, from the place where you are staying or using. The practice of detachment is not paying attention to yourself, to your present life, to your actions, including physical, verbal, or mental actions. You must not pay attention to the present happening in the mind and body. This is the practice of detachment. In order not to be rejecting, you must be mindful. You must try to be mindful of your mind and body every moment. If you are not mindful, you are rejecting the right action of mindfulness. In order not to be rejecting, you must be mindful. In order not to be attaching, you must not pay attention to your mind and to your mental action of mindfulness. Okay, Kit, go ahead.
Thank you, Monty. Oh, yep, I'm audible. Okay. So I guess I've been trying to do something that could be considered good, but I've been very attached to a particular outcome of it, and it's been causing me quite a bit of stress. So this really hits on point of what you're talking about today. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is talking about. You know, it doesn't matter if you're doing good. It matters that you're practicing mindfulness and detachment, and even to detach from your mindfulness. You know, this second-handedness or this self aspect to taking care of the body and mind, of being mindful. You detach even from that. So it is to breathe only, to experience only. You should do good deeds because that is the right action, but any kind of attachment that you bring to those good deeds, any kind of something or someone, it's just going to create suffering, period. So, yeah, good situation that we're in now. The practice of detachment is not paying attention to yourself, to your present life, to your actions, including physical, verbal, or mental actions. Don't pay attention to any of it. You must not pay attention to the present happening in the body and mind. Don't pay attention to it. This is the practice of detachment. In order not to be rejecting, you must be mindful. You must try to be mindful of your mind and body every moment. If you are not mindful, you are rejecting the right action of mindfulness. In order not to be rejecting, you must be mindful. However, in order not to be attaching, you must not pay attention to your mind and to your mental action of mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness is also not to be rejected or attached to. You must be mindful, but you must not pay attention to the practice of mindfulness. What I mean is that the more you pay attention, the more attachment there is for the action of mindfulness. Now you are interested in meditation. This is why meditation is in your mind. That is attachment for the practice of meditation. Although you are not rejecting, if you are not interested in meditation, you are rejecting. You will not think about meditation. This is also wrong. Now you pay attention to meditation. This is why there is attachment for meditation in your mind. So you must try to detach. You must be mindful and stop paying attention to meditation. When you meditate, you are not the only one who is meditating. There are a lot of people meditating. Some are in a forest or in a cave. Some are in a meditation center. There are a lot of people who are meditating. Because of someone, we pay attention to someone, to one of the meditators. That habit must be abandoned. If we cannot abandon the habit of paying attention to someone, we are not following the middle way. The middle way is free from rejecting and attaching. There are many meditators who practice meditation, but they cannot abandon their habits. If they work, they will pay attention to their work. They will pay attention to their life as a worker. If they meditate, they will pay attention to this life of a meditator, and they will pay attention to their action of meditation. Although they are meditating, they cannot detach from themselves and from their actions. I mean, they are doing good deeds for themselves. They are misunderstanding the practice of meditation as being their own work. If doing with the idea of something that we own, it will never end. So if we are practicing meditation with this idea of me who's meditating, then this cycle is just going to continue and continue and continue. Even though meditation is doing a good deed, if we are still practicing it with this idea of someone, something, someplace, sometime, we're still developing this quality of attachment. So we need to not pay attention to any of it. But we should not reject mindfulness. We shouldn't reject our meditation method, but we also shouldn't pay attention to it. There are a lot of people who are meditating. Because of someone, we pay attention to someone, to one of the meditators. Maybe it's you, maybe it's someone who you see who's meditating. That habit must be abandoned. If we cannot abandon the habit of paying attention to someone or something, we are not following the middle way. The middle way is free from rejecting and attaching. There are many meditators who practice meditation, but they cannot abandon their habits. If they work, they will pay attention to their work. They will pay attention to their life as a worker. If they meditate, they will pay attention to this life of a meditator, and they will pay attention to their action of meditation. Although they are meditating, we can say although they are aware, they cannot detach from themselves, from this self point of view and their actions moment by moment. And they cannot detach from other people's self point of view and their actions moment by moment. So we continuously find ourselves in this stuckness, in this trap of attachment of someone and something. So although they are meditating, although they are aware, they cannot detach from themselves and from their actions. I mean, they are doing good deeds for themselves. They are misunderstanding the practice of meditation as being their own work. If doing with the idea of something that we own, it will never end. We are usually representing something or someone. So we must try to represent the truth, which is ever new, impermanent nature. We can understand, we can think, we can recognize, we can feel the sound, we can feel the smell, we can feel the cold. We misunderstand that I understand, or I am thinking, or someone is thinking, or someone is feeling cold. This is wrong. All these powers of understanding, thinking, recognizing, feeling, all these powers are concerning the ever new impermanent nature. They are not concerning or referencing a self, an I, a me, a mine. They are concerning this ever new impermanent nature. They are concerning the truth, not the self. Only the ever new impermanent nature can know, can think, can feel, can remember, and can make actions. This ever-new impermanent nature is not something, not someone. We are always using the power of ever-new impermanent nature, but we misunderstand. We don't know the truth, which is ever-new impermanent nature. This is why we misunderstand that there is someone, I or you. There is something, mine or yours. We can use living beings, including ourselves. We can use non-living beings, but we must try to detach from the idea of something or of someone. And so this using is a cooperation without self or other, is what this is referencing. So acting from the place of ever-new impermanent nature with ever-new impermanent nature, using only. So the practice of detachment is not paying attention to something or to someone. We can pay attention, but we must try to stop that habit. Not daring to abandon the habit of paying attention is attachment. We can eat, but we should also try not to eat. We can sleep, but we should also try not to sleep. We must understand that abandoning is necessary. Abandoning is also an action. Normally we understand that we have to work, but we should understand that the work is necessary to be done and also to be abandoned. Eating is also to be done and to be abandoned. Sleeping is also to be done and to be abandoned. So I think we've all experienced when you fill your stomach, especially when you overeat, oh, I don't bring any food near me. We can be completely offended when someone offers us food after we've just filled up our stomach, right? Or when we spend long periods of time sleeping, maybe many days sleeping, and we're just disgusted by the idea of sleeping. Okay? Eating is to be abandoned. Sleeping is to be abandoned. And as much as we experiment with overeating, as much as we experiment with oversleeping, we should also experiment with abandoning this idea, this attachment to sleeping, this attachment to eating. We can eat, but we should also try not to eat. We can sleep, but we should try not to sleep. We must understand that abandoning is necessary. Abandoning is also an action. Normally we understand that we have to work, but we should understand that the work is necessary to be done and also to be abandoned. Eating is also to be done and to be abandoned. Sleeping is also to be done and to be abandoned. We understand that we have to occupy our life. This is not complete understanding, but it is a step in the right direction. Life is also to be used and to be abandoned, to be lost. We must try to abandon our belongings and also ourselves. If we don't understand that, we will only understand that we must work, we must learn, we must study, we must try to get everything. So we want everything because we understand that things must be possessed. We understand that food must be eaten. This is why we want to eat all food. We understand all places are meant to go to. This is why we want to go everywhere. Because our understanding is not complete. We can go, we can eat, but we must understand both doing and abandoning. We must try to do, and we must try to abandon also. In this way, we will be able to control ourselves. We can go, we can eat, but we must understand both doing and abandoning. And if we have only developed an understanding of doing, it's time to be more generous with developing an understanding of abandoning. Giving up your possessions, giving up eating, giving up sleeping. It's not a big deal. It is to be abandoned anyway. So we can stretch out, we can exercise that practice. In this way, we must try to do, and we must try to abandon also. In this way, we will be able to control ourselves. Here in Singapore and in Japan, the people think they have to work too much. Without work, no food, no life. They are believing in the wrong way. They have been sold false goods. This is why they cannot live without work. They are using incomplete understanding. This is why their action is also not complete. We should do when we have to do. We must be able to do when we should do. We must be able not to do when we should not do. We must eat when we should eat. We must not eat when we should not. All the actions are also to be done and to be abandoned. If we understand that the action is to be done, there will be strong attachment for doing, and in this way we will be busy all the time. As much as an action is to be done, as much as going to work is to be done, it is also to be abandoned. If we only understand that the action is to be done, there will be strong attachment for doing, and in this way we will be busy all the time. We will never have rest. Most people in society are interested in education, business, sports, or politics, but they rarely are interested in meditation and the practice of mindfulness and detachment. They are not paying attention to Buddha's teaching. And now we can understand Buddha's teaching in a religious perspective, but here it is meant as far as we know, the best that we've got. The most clear, direct, truthful, practical teachings on ending suffering that are available and accessible to us, systematic, practical, approachable. Buddha means awake. So most people in society are interested in education, business, sports, or politics, YouTube or TikTok. But they rarely are interested in meditation and the practice of mindfulness and detachment. They are not paying attention to teachings with the intention of ending suffering. This is why their understanding is not complete. So their mind is not complete. Their life is not complete. We can do education, business, politics, but we must also be able to do meditation, to do good deeds and to not do bad. We must purify our mind also. There are a lot of problems in the mind of people because they don't care. They are not interested in purifying their mind. They are paying attention to work, money, and to success. That is why their mind is not pure. That is why they suffer. You should try to meditate daily. at least 1 hour in the morning. In this way, you are trying to detach from your daily work. If you do not meditate, you will be busy with your work all the time. By meditating daily, you will be able to detach from your work for 1 hour. In this way, you must continue to detach for longer periods of time. If you can detach from society, from your job, then there is no need to do as other people do. Because of attachment, human beings are busy with their work. So also animals are busy with their work. Animals cannot understand about mindfulness and detachment, so they have no choice but to keep doing in this way. But human beings have intelligence, and we can understand about Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. We can understand about the awakened mind, the ability to wake up from our suffering. We can understand that there are skillful teachings, there are wise teachings that can direct us and guide us to end our suffering. And that there are community members who are also on this path of mindfulness and detachment, of meditation. We're not like a cat who falls into heat and can meet any other cat in the world, and now we're having babies. We're not in the same situation as animals, but we often make ourselves to be just like animals in the way that we live. So those are the meanings of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. This is why we can change our actions. We can change our lives, and we can change ourselves. We should try to represent the truth of ever-new impermanent nature, which is not something, which is not someone. The idea of someone makes trouble for us all the time. We are always thinking about ourselves, our family, our problems, and our health. The cause is attachment for something or someone. This is why the practice of mindfulness and detachment is necessary for everyone. But most people don't understand. This is why they don't want to be mindful, don't want to detach. It's not because people are making a conscious choice, but it's because they don't understand the cause of their suffering, the cause of their misery, the cause of this kind of defiled mind that is constantly drowning with unpleasantness and unskillfulness. In Myanmar, there are a lot of meditators. I made a permanent meditation center. Everyone can come and stay for their lifetime. Okay, so this teacher, my master, Sayadaw Ashin Ottamasara, whose teachings we are listening to right now, has made a permanent meditation center in Myanmar. If everyone who listened to this video and participated in this talk, in this meditation, were to show up there tomorrow, you would be able to live there for the rest of your life. Okay, and you can bring a +1 and a +2, period. Show up there tomorrow, no question, you will be fully welcome. In the beginning, only a few people were interested in meditating all the time because they didn't want to lose their family, their job. Although they practiced meditation, they continued their family life and their job. That is why my teaching emphasizes detachment. Later, more and more people will be able to detach. This is why there are many people in my center, over 4,000. More and more people are interested in doing good deeds all the time and investing their lives, their intelligence, and their abilities in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. The ability to become enlightened fully, to end suffering fully. The teachings leading to the ending of suffering, and the community of well-minded practitioners who are walking together on that path. Doing good, not doing bad, and purifying the mind is the most important work. Period. Doing good more and more. Refraining from unskillful, selfish, pleasure-seeking based activities, refraining more and more from doing bad, and purifying the mind is the most important work, not only for ourselves but for all. Okay, for the children, for the old people, for the sick people, for the healthy people, this is the most important work that can be done. First, we must try to do this, and then we can teach others how to detach from themselves and their actions. If you can detach from yourself, no need to worry, no desire. Desire comes from the idea of someone. You want to do, you want to go, you want to eat, you want to know, and then you get in all kinds of trouble. This comes from the idea of someone. If you can detach from the idea of something or someone, no more desire. If there is no desire, in that moment there will be perfection. There will be freedom. Freedom from desire. Freedom from fear. Freedom from worry. Freedom from the society also. Now you are seeing from the side of a human. You are representing the human being. You are using the intelligence of a human being. What you are using is not complete. If you think like this, you will believe there is no need to meditate, no need to detach. For human beings, something, mine and yours, someone, I or you are essential. Something is necessary, something which we own, our own life or our own belongings, our own place, our own family. It is necessary for human beings. That understanding is not complete. We strongly believe I am right, it is right, something is right, someone is right. We strongly believe like this. This belief is wrong. If you see from the wrong view, mindfulness and detachment is just nonsense. You will see that there's no need to detach or to be mindful if you are looking from the wrong view. To be free from the idea of something or of someone, you must detach from the idea of something or someone. You can never understand the truth of no something, no someone, if we see from the view of something or someone. Besides, you must be able not to pay attention to yourself and to what you are doing. We can speak, we can read, we can learn because of attachment to something. We are paying attention to our action. A lot of people are studying. A lot of people are speaking. A lot of people are thinking. We can do, but paying attention to one's action is wrong. There are a lot of people in the world, but we pay attention especially to ourselves and to our friends. This is using with the idea of something. This idea of something is wrong. The idea of someone is wrong. Why are we paying attention to someone? Why are we paying attention to something? Why are we paying attention to one action? There are a lot of actions, speaking, eating, thinking. There are many actions like this. But while doing like this, we should be able not to pay attention to one action. This is the practice of detachment. To be free from attachment, we must abandon our own habits, the habit of someone. If we are grasping our habits, It means that we are misusing our life, misusing with the ideas of mine, yours. That understanding is wrong. In fact, the life is to use only. We might be young or old, sick or healthy, male or female or non-binary or other such genders or sex. All lives are to use only, to experience only, not to reject nor to attach. Attachment is the cause of all problems. Our mind should be mind only. Human mind is not free. We pay attention to living beings because of our attachment for living beings. We are studying about the universe because of attachment for the place. Using with attachment is wrong. It will never end. If we can detach from place, from time, from living beings and non-living beings, our mind will be pure and complete, peaceful, silent, still. Because nothing is stable. Even the world is not stable. No person is stable. So if our mind is paying attention to someone, our mind will be unstable. We cannot stop the nature of things, the nature of living beings, but we can detach from them. The practice of detachment is concerning our mind. Happening or not is not important. What is really important is not to attach to that happening or not happening. Try to be able to accept only all dualities, right and wrong, good and bad, heat and cold, without any attachment to them and without taking them as reality. So this is a talk given by Sayadaw, meditation master Sayadaw Ashin Ottamasara in Malaysia, Singapore in 2014. With some extra words thrown in. Would anyone like to share their experience or ask a question?
About the experience was very nice, very calming.
Kasihan abang again. I understand part of the teaching on detachment. I remember also reading like there are thoughts, but there isn't a thinker. There is rain, but there isn't a rainer. I understand part of the teaching on detachment, but like when it comes to friends and family, to me, it seems more like normal that you're gonna love your friends and family and that you're gonna be attached to them more than to like a random person on the street. So I don't really know because in the reading it said something about that we are attached to our group of friends. So how is that not good, or how do we detach from our family and friends? I didn't really quite get that part.
So you do it in the same way that you detach from your own desire, your own thinking. You just to experience only what's happening right now as nama and rupa, that is body and mind. Physical experiences, mental experiences, all of which are impermanent, constantly shifting and changing. As you try to hold on to one aspect of your experience from this place of me or mine, self or other, you prepare yourself to suffer. In that moment, you are suffering. So it's a bitter pill to swallow that your friends and your family are bearing the mark of ever new impermanent nature, much more than they are bearing the mark of a person or a place. So you experience only, as much as you can not add extra layers onto your caring only, your kindness only, your gentleness only. That's the best. So be a good uncle only, be a good aunt only, be a good sister only, be a good mother only, and don't convolute it. Don't bring in layers of attachment which interfere with your ability to use only and to be compassionate completely in any experience at any moment with anyone. As we detach from person or place, as we detach from our preferential treatment of this one person, this one thing, we can be more compassionate to that one person, that one thing. But you can't cheat about it. You've got to practice mindfulness and detachment. And you've got to not pay so much attention or give so much weight to what you are doing. You just need to give weight and importance to detachment and everything else that goes with being a human being.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Detaching means loving unconditionally without wanting anything back.
What did you say?
Loving unconditionally without wanting anything back.
No, you
Is
should
that
detach from
detaching?
that. That is what
Should
is to
detach
be
from that as
detached
well.
from. Loving unconditionally without wanting anything back is to um, involve a person or something or someone who is loving, who is unconditional, who doesn't want something back. So it's just multi-layered of someone and something and some place and some action and some effect. So we prioritize to experience only, to use only, And to use is to express ever new impermanent nature in all of our interactions. And to rely on that, to rely on the truth rather than the created truth, which is loving someone or something unconditionally, without wanting anything back. More and more we put down the created truth and we pick up mindfulness and detachment. We pick up to experience only at this moment, to do good deeds only. No effect, not even to pay attention to the action. It's the doing only. No doer, no rainer.
When you say good deeds, that also if you say pick up trash from the
If you go to wander around in the streets, it's probably going to be better than staying in your room and fueling your desires. Eating Starbursts and drinking Perrier, right? Sparkling water. So what is doing good is to use only, to experience only at any given moment. The person doesn't matter, the place doesn't matter, the effect doesn't matter. It's to experience only, to use only, to do only. Mindfulness and detachment. Yeah. Because many people are doing things. Many people are meditating. Many people are doing good deeds. You don't focus on them, but because you are more sensually connected to the body and mind that is appearing right now, in your room in Denmark or wherever that place was, right? Then you give special attention to this body and this mind, but it's just one of many. There's no reason to give it so much special attention. So we should give special attention to doing only, to experiencing only, and even that we shouldn't pay attention to. We should just to do it.
I started listening to a book by Ajahn Chah. What is it? A Still Forest Pond, or a still forest pool, and he said something really funny that's similar to this. He said that when a homeless person asks for food, we come up with a bunch of ideas about giving them the food. But with proper mindfulness, you can give them the food. That's it.
That's a good example. Just do it. Because usually what is preventing those kind of activity, right, is we get into this thinking or this second-handedness about, well, doing it, is it this way or is it that way? I do want to be I do want to be generous, but not unconditionally. And where does all that stuff come from? It just is not even unconditionally, but it comes from me and mine and self and other. So it's to use only, to experience only, to give only, or not give only, to abandon only also. That's a good example, Kit. Thank you. Any other question or sharing experience?
Oh, hi, Bate. I wanted to say that the part about living similarly to an animal really resonated quite a bit with me. It's something that I've realized I've been doing with through a lot of my life is really just living and focusing my energies on surviving till tomorrow and making it to the next day so I can keep on living and working the same way. And it's really just going in a cycle. And I've it's occurred to me before that I felt very much the same as a wild animal that's so focused on survival that they have no time or energy for anything higher than that. It's just that's it. So I that part definitely resonated quite a bit with me and with my current situation and rethinking of my life. So thank you.
A lot of people are in this situation, and the prescription that the master offered in this reading was at least 1 hour a day, ideally in the morning, where you meditate and you practice detachment. So at least for that 1 hour, you detach from someone or something. You detach from being a worker, and you set up the good causes and conditions for further, deeper, longer detachment. And you can take it as far as you want to take it. You know, you can become a monk or a nun. You can become a renunciate. You don't need to attach so much to working in that way. You can abandon it also. That is also possible. And actually, the work is to be abandoned. Everything is to be abandoned. Everything. And it's to be abandoned not for someone or something. It is at this moment to see into the truth of ever new impermanent nature. There's no someone who is going to become an expert at abandoning, okay? There's no better version of yourself that you're going to get to because there's no version of yourself to begin with. It's all a bodily and mental experiences that are to be used only and to be abandoned only for the purpose of waking up, for the purpose of seeing the truth. That is called the original truth. That is called mind only. That is called the truth of impermanence. That is called the truth of ever new impermanent nature. Someone asked a question over on the YouTube about how do you stay positive in the face of negativity, in the face of people who don't agree with you, people who want to mess with you, make a joke about you. Doesn't matter how good you are, people won't like you and will want to make a problem for you, it doesn't matter. If you're Jesus or the Buddha, someone's going to come along and not like you so much. So how do you deal with that? How do you stay positive in the face of that? Well, there is no person, there is no place, there is no thing. Don't get caught up in person or place. Get caught up in doing good deeds, doing less bad deeds, unskillful, selfish activities, and working to purify the mind. And there's no someone or something to be an adversary to or to go against. And when we find that friction coming up in experiencing someone going against us, or they take the negative turn, or whatever it may be, detach. Compete, vote in this Dhamma election. Okay, this truth election, this truth competition, not to prove yourself to be more skillful or more based or more chill or more woke. Prove yourself to be more detached. Vote for detachment. Vote for not someone, not something, but just mindfulness and detachment. We should prioritize this way of practice and this way of being, and then the more that we can invest in this, okay, Namo Guanyin Pusa, Namo Amitabha. There are many dimensions of practice and Buddhism and emphasis on compassion and loving kindness and different support structures and different ways to heal and to get involved, but we should start from the truth. We should rely on the truth first and foremost. That is the truth of not someone, period. It's weird, but that's it, And if you don't get that, if you don't agree with that, then maybe the meteor that's 0.0001 milliseconds from making contact with Earth, or the supernova, or the black hole, or whatever, will make that clear to you, right? Or just an event in your life that's not so, that seems so ridiculous, but anything can happen to us. That's why it's important that we rely on the truth of ever new impermanent nature. That's why we should rely on doing good deeds, refraining from bad deeds, especially bad deeds. We have to start from good and bad, okay? Do good things. Don't do bad things. If you can become skillful in that, now you can prioritize doing more skillful activities, and you can do less unskillful activities. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, but to be skillful and not unskillful. And to focus to purify our mind. And this is going to prepare us for whatever happens, whatever is going to happen. And whatever happens is also not going to be someone or something, but it might feel that way strongly. So we should prepare ourselves right now to bear the mark of the truth, and to see the mark of the truth, to see the mark of impermanence in anything and everything that we look at. Not someone, not something, but to experience only, okay? To use only, to take care only. And that is, in a practical sense, that is to remember, that is to remind, that is to refresh and restart experiencing only, doing only, caring only, gentle only, enjoying only, right? Things are going to be pleasurable. Pain only, pleasure only, whatever it is, we experience only, and we don't even pay attention so much to it. Because there's no one to pay attention to it. Now, what if we've already done a lot of bad deeds? that's your inspiration to detach, okay? That's your inspiration to experience only, to refresh only, to restart only. You've been a bad person, evil person. It's not even that, because there are a lot of people who are doing bad deeds. Why are you so important? Why do we need to give so much importance and paying attention to my bad deeds? There are plenty of people who are doing bad deeds. We have this habit to take everything to be an excuse to reinforce our self-fixation, okay, to reinforce someone and something and some place, to reinforce some attachment to a created truth. So detach from any and all created truths. And that is to experience only at this moment, to breathe only, to see only, to hear only, to do only, to refrain only.
I have a question, Gandhi.
Okay, good.
So you just mentioned there is such thing as created truth. So is there such thing as ultimate truth?
Well, this is what we're talking about. Okay, so ultimate truth can be called the original truth. It can be called the original mind. It can be called Buddha mind. It can even be called experiencing only. Okay, it can even be called using only, doing only. But especially it can be pointed to as ever new impermanent nature. Ever new impermanent nature. So that is the original truth, the absolute truth of impermanence that is constantly disintegrating, vanishing, getting rid of, sweeping up someone or something, any attachment, any fixation, any attention that we give to anything is just a created truth. Whereas the truth of ever new impermanent nature is the constant arising and passing away of all mental and physical phenomena.
That's very profound. Thank you.
It's profound and it's also convenient because we don't need to strive, we don't need to investigate to know about the truth. Maybe to know about it, but regardless of knowing about it, the truth is the truth. And that is the truth of impermanence. And we can experience it directly at any moment. Whatever comes up, a mental experience or a physical experience, it comes up and then it goes away, period. That's how it goes. So that is the original truth, ever new impermanent nature. And this is much more reliable. This is much more true than the created truths that we come up with of a person, a place, a story, an idea, a belief. These are just created truths. And if we are willing to practice mindfulness and detachment, if we are willing to abandon our habits and to abandon our constant focus on person or place, our constant focus on doing or not doing, if we can abandon all that, we can experience the freedom, the joy, the ease of ever new impermanent nature, which is our nature. We can become silent, still, peaceful, and joyful if we are willing to do what we should do and abandon it. Abandon our actions. Abandon our bad habits. Abandon all of the someone and something and someplace and sometime that has been kind of dragged out of the mud up to this point. If we're willing to abandon all aspects of that, then we will experience freedom. But we need to continuously abandon, to continuously not obey our desire. If you can abandon pleasure, you can surely abandon pain. If you can abandon desire and lust, then you can surely abandon fear. Do not obey your desire. So, in our practice of meditation today and listening to the Buddhist teachings, the teachings on ever new impermanent nature, the teachings on the truth, we have surely cultivated a lot of good fruits from our good deeds, our good practices. So, our aspiration and our intention is even for the spiritual effects from our good deeds, the good effects from our good deeds in this way of meditation and wisdom, we shouldn't keep them for ourselves. We shouldn't see them as something special and important. Actually, we should wish to abandon them, but not to throw them away, instead to share the merit to offer with all beings. So we will do a chant to end our session together, a blessing chant and a sharing the merit. And for the last part, there will be some sadhus. So for that part, you can follow along. Some people here in the Discord should know about those sadhus. All right, so let's all bring our hands together and we'll finish with this Buddhist chantings. Sapitio vivachantu saparoko vinasatu mape pawa danasilicha ayu ano sukang baram. Gudo emya Gudo Jabagudo Dadu 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 Gudo emya Gudo Jabagudo Dadu 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 Gudo emya Gudo Jabagudo Dadu Dadu Dadu. Okay. Thank you all for being here. It takes a lot of generosity for you to show up and to practice in this way. So I appreciate your generosity. Over these final days in this week, we will be having some extra meditation sessions. So if you can make the time to join, please do try as much as possible to join. And then I'll be away for a while from the formal group meditation scheduled ones. So as much as we can, let's try to practice together this week. Let's double down on our mindfulness and detachment. Abandon sleep, abandon eating, and more, let's practice meditation together and continue on the path. All right? Thank you all for being here. Okay, Kyle, you have a good time?
Yes, sir. Yes, Father.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to be attached to saying something, but simultaneously